Today, I am bringing you a language learning routine that even if you are low on time, you can do even in about 30 minutes per day. The very first thing is to always audit your energy before going into a session, because that is going to determine what you are going to sustainably and enjoyably be able to do. Doing your best and what that means is going to look very different depending on the day, because you are human. This understanding is one of the core philosophies I have whenever I approach coaching language learners. If your day has been exhausting and you feel completely depleted, then going towards a really heavy, intensive, high energy activity probably won't be your best bet in being able to stay consistent long term, right? Because if we are forcing ourselves into our language learning studies, we're forcing ourselves to do high energy things when we are low energy, for example, then that is in the long term not going to get us much anywhere. And forcing ourselves as well can lead to building a lot of resentment and a lot maybe of guilt, of shame into thinking about your language learning process. We do not want that. And I do recommend you sign up for my Language A La Carte. That is a menu of pre-selected activities that you can do in your language based on energy, so that you literally just have the list there and you won't have to decide on the day of being energy depleted what you should do and what gets to count. It's in the pinned comments below if you'd like it for free. Now, the next thing that you do after you check in shortly with your energy and determine if you are high, medium, or low for the day is then pick out a base resource that matches that energy. So this can look like one textbook that you on a high energy day can stick to, maybe do one set of exercises and then call it a day. And you only need 15 minutes to do this, by the way. You can also think about a longer podcast that comes with transcripts and it has a lot of episodes. That can be what you base your medium energy around when you combine reading and listening. And it can also just look like an app where you finish one session that just takes anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes on testing new vocabulary or a new grammar concept. We don't need to be hopping around trying to use all of our resources and just hoard them and not actually use them. So the best way to do that is literally just do a really nice detox of your resources. You can find more information on how more specifically to do that up in this video linked above, but it is really important to understand that everything is going to teach you basically the same thing. It really just depends on how you choose to consume something and how the way that you consume things is going to affect your energy. And once you have that in place, then doing this 15 minutes is going to go by like that. Now, right after those 15 minutes, what you're then going to do is follow up with some sort of 2-minute output. That can look like writing just a few sentences, a few words that you learned from whatever source you used with your 15-minute base resource. You can also freely talk to yourself for even like 30 seconds. It doesn't even have to be up to 2 minutes if you feel that that is too much pressure or that just takes too much energy. Even if you feel yourself hesitating or stalling or making mistakes, that is what we want. Every mistake that we make gets us closer to getting that mistake right. Any kind of output that you can make it out to be that will really activate what you just studied from your base resource, so that active retrieval becomes naturally a part of your routine and you don't delay producing more output right after you've studied more input. Next thing you're going to do is identify your time gaps during the week, during the day, and fill just one of them with comprehensible input of your choice. So ideally you understand already about 75% or more of whatever you decide to listen or read. And you can do any of this while you are, for example, driving home or doing a chore or waiting for the microwave to be done, cooking, etc. I don't advocate for filling in all of your time gaps with language learning, because I know that with busy lives outside of language learning, when we are tired, maybe even when we are stressed, we can feel overstimulated, and sometimes we genuinely need that time to just not listen to anything at all, not do anything. So that's why only one of those time gaps that you have is ideally going to be filled with language learning. Again, you can fill in more time gaps with that comprehensible input if you would like, but give or take, depending on your own energy and schedule, that's what we are aiming for to make this routine adaptable to you. And then this is more of a weekly thing instead of a daily thing, but it's really easy to do, but it is a game changer if you do it consistency in your language learning, and that is a 5-minute reflection time on Sunday before your week ideally begins. So if we do not do this, then that is what is in the long term going to make our language learning less enjoyable and also less effective. Less enjoyable because powering through without being able to properly reflect and implement those reflections for next time is what is going to prevent us from building meaning in our language learning experience, right? Yes, we are learning a language for this specific outcome, right? Maybe we need it, maybe we want it, maybe it brings us a lot of joy, but we as humans need to know that there is meaning to what we are doing. And if we're just powering through without reflection, that meaning can get very much lost during the language learning experience, and you are going to feel less fulfilled once you reach the goal that you have been powering through to get to without that reflection. The second thing is that without reflection, what you're doing is overall going to be less effective in the long term, especially for your language learning. If you are learning not only about, how to build routines, how to stay organized, etc., but also understanding how to be adaptable, especially when real life happens and gets in the way of our plans, then that is when long-term success really happens. But it's harder to understand how to adapt when you are not reflecting at all about your own process and actually zooming out of sometimes the tunnel vision that we get in our pursuit of reaching our fluency goals as fast and as effective as possible, right? Truly, one of the most effective things that you can do if we're talking in those terms is add a simple reflection. So here are some of the questions that you can answer every single week to make sure that your routine that you're including within these 30 minutes per day is adaptable for your life and energy and schedule. Is this actually useful for my fluency goals? Can I realistically maintain this on a bad week? Do I resist doing this or avoid it? And if I had less motivation, would I still do it? Those questions are some really great ones to just start with, and you'll find that you will have your own reflection questions that you habitually like to answer yourself once you get into the habit of doing this. Let me know if this was helpful for you, how you are going to structure your routine for the coming week based on this that you found in the video. Make sure to like and subscribe because it really does help the algorithm find other language learners just like you in the same boat. I hope to see you in another video soon, and take care.